The Lifestyle Show, presented by Selena Mackenzie.
We spoke to Mary Bryant a couple of months ago about her book, The Modern Pioneer Pantry. And then she happened to mention that she also makes natural remedies, which I thought would be perfect for our medical day. So welcome back to the show, Mary Bryant Schrader.
Oh, thank you very much for having me, Selena. Yes, I like to make home remedies, natural remedies, whatever folks like to call them. And I like to make them very accessible to people. No fancy herbs that you have to special order or anything like this. Amazingly, a lot of the herbs that we have right in our pantry, just dried herbs, are not just culinary herbs, but they're also medicinal herbs. And they have antimicrobial properties, antibacterial, antiviral, anti-inflammatory. They run the gamut.
Wow. The first one that comes to mind to me, Mary, when you mention the herbs and spices and things is turmeric. That's very good for you, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Turmeric is wonderful because it's very anti-inflammatory. And people, especially if you have aches and pains and something like arthritis, people find that making a turmeric tea or a turmeric milk can be very soothing. And what the secret is to using turmeric is to mix in a little black pepper, because black pepper has an ingredient that helps the body really absorb the turmeric. And then combining both of those with a little bit of fat, such as like whole milk, if you make a turmeric milk. And warming everything together is going to bring out all the best that turmeric offers us. So if you are plagued with some aches and pains and you make a little turmeric at night, a little turmeric tea or a little turmeric milk at night, it will help you tremendously, hopefully, to get a good night's sleep and be relieved of some aches and pains.
Well, I'm hoping you can help me, Mary, because I came down with a cold last Friday and it's still there, and I've got a sore throat and I'm a bit blocked, and I don't know what to take. Is there something natural I should be taking to help me get rid of it and help me sleep?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. And this is as we go into cold and flu season, there are two things that I really like to do. Number one, I will often take some fresh ginger. You can just get this at the grocery store. Peel it, grate it, mix it with honey, keep that in your refrigerator. And when you feel a sore throat coming on, take a teaspoon of that and it'll be very soothing. And the ginger has wonderful antiviral properties to kind of help tamp down that sore throat. And then what I really like to do is to make a very simple hot toddy with that ginger honey mixture, and then add in some lemon juice, a little orange juice, any tea that you like, or just plain water, and sip that throughout the day. It can be very helpful. And then I don't drink, but I know my Irish relatives would often throw in a shot of whiskey and they'd have a good night's sleep and feel a lot better in the morning.
That sounds like a great idea.
Also, something that happens when people do have a cold or the flu, they often have a cough associated with that. And then you have that lingering cough that seems so hard to get rid of for weeks after you've recovered, because that's the one area I get the most questions about. What can I do for that lingering cough? And the good news is, if you have thyme, dried thyme, right in your pantry, and I think so many of us have dried thyme, and you can take the dried thyme and steep it in some water with some grated, the zest of the lemon. Now, don't discard the lemon because we're going to use the lemon. And you bring that with the water and the dried thyme up to a boil. I have this recipe in my second cookbook, The Modern Pioneer Pantry, but I'll walk everybody through it here. You take some time, and these are not hard and fast recipes. So you can just take, about like a third of a cup of dried thyme, and then just add maybe 2 cups of water. Bring this up to a boil and let this simmer for about 30 minutes, along with the zest of 1 lemon. Now you've made this thyme water, in essence. And then you're going to let that cool down to room temperature. You're going to add the juice from the lemon that we zested. You're going to add a 1/4 cup of raw apple cider vinegar. It can be your homemade one or store-bought, whatever you have, and then a cup of raw honey. You're going to mix this all up together until the honey completely dissolves, and you're going to keep this in your refrigerator. And then what's so nice about this is just natural. This doesn't have any chemicals, no food colorings, nothing like that. You take a couple of teaspoons of this throughout the day. It is wonderful. Thyme is wonderful at soothing a cough.
That sounds excellent to me. And apple cider vinegar, that's something like turmeric that is very popular at the moment and can do lots of good things, can't it?
Yes, apple cider vinegar, especially when it's raw, is a wonderful condiment, so to speak, to keep in your pantry. First of all, it can be kept at room temperature, and it is very rich in good bacteria. That's often, if you buy it at the grocery store, you'll see like what looks like some sediment on the bottom, and that's often referred to as the mother. But what that is that's the good bacteria. And the more good bacteria we can introduce into our bodies, the better, because good bacteria keeps our gut healthy, our digestive system healthy. And scientists are always telling us the healthier our digestive system, the more good bacteria we have in our digestive system, generally the healthier we are. And why is that? The reason is the better our digestive system can function, the healthier our digestive system is, the better we absorb the nutrients from the foods we eat. And the better we can absorb the nutrients from the food we eat, that's what makes us healthier.
Yeah. And what if I go back in time before Friday, is there anything I could have taken to boost my immunity to stop myself getting a cold?
Definitely. And this is something that's very easy to make, and it's relatively easy to find, and that's elderberry syrup. It's become very, very popular, and people can often find this already prepared for them if they want to buy it. However, it's probably one of the easiest things to make if you find some elderberries. Now, some people, elderberry bushes grow around where like rivers and streams are, and a lot of people will forage for them, which is fascinating. But if that's not an option for you, you can often find dried elderberries packaged, often at like a health food store, and sometimes grocery stores will carry them too in bulk sections. And all you do is take a couple of cups of dried elderberries, enough water to cover, bring it up to a boil, let it simmer, and then you're going to strain that and you're going to have your elderberry syrup. And a lot of people will doll it up. They might add lemon, they might add ginger, cinnamon sticks. People do different things to increase the flavor. But then if you take, like say, for example, a teaspoon of that a day as you go into cold and flu season, that boosts your immune system. Now, you don't want to take this all year long because we don't want to overtax our immune system, always boosting it. But as we go into cold and flu season, that's a good time where maybe you want to give your immune system a little help. So you take a teaspoon or two of the elderberry syrup, starting around October, November, depending. I live in Central Texas, so it's very warm here until about January. But as you start noticing that people are getting the sniffles or whatever, you start taking your elderberry syrup, and chances are you'll give your immune system a nice little boost, and hopefully you can fend off the germs you're exposed to.
That's fantastic advice. And it's the right time of year for that advice as well.
Yes.
So a lot of us ladies like to try and stay as young looking as possible. Is there a natural like collagen drink or something like that you can take, sort of the font of life, the elixir?
Well, one of the best things you can do, you do not need, I tell people, don't buy all these collagen powders. They're processed, they're expensive. And I really question once they're stripped down, into a processed dried form, how well they're really going to work. The best thing you can do is make bone broth. Oh. Bone broth is so rich in natural collagen because you will take for example, I know beef bones can get expensive and whatnot, but if you have a chicken, you just take your chicken and roast it, enjoy a nice dinner, whatever the case may be, save that carcass, and then put that carcass in a stock pot, cover it with water, just enough water to cover. This is where some people run into trouble when they make bone broth. They put so much water in, and then it's very watery. It's not gelatinous, but just enough to cover. Add some celery scraps, some onion skins, some carrot shavings, you just all your vegetable scraps, maybe some bay leaves, some peppercorns. Simmer that anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. You do not need to simmer bone broth for days. That's a misnomer. 4 to 6 hours is going to give you beautiful gelatinous bone broth. Now, when I say gelatinous, it's going to look gelatinous when you put it in the refrigerator. It's going to look like Jell-O. But when you warm it, it's just going to look like a liquid beverage. But what is so beautiful about bone broth is that you see like the legs and the wings and all, there's that cartilage. When that cartilage is very rich in collagen. And when you simmer that in hot water, and you're just going to bring this up to a boil, and then you're going to very quickly turn it down to the lowest setting on your stove and let it just simmer at the lowest setting. And that cartilage starts to, in essence, melt into the water. And cartilage is rich in collagen, and when collagen is cooked, it becomes gelatin, very rich in protein, very rich in all the nutrients that our skin loves. You drink that, it not only heals your digestive system, it also helps your skin, your hair, your nails. And that's all you need to do. You don't need to buy all these expensive powders. And what's beautiful about homemade bone broth is you get the whole array of nutrients. You don't get something that's been processed and potentially stripped of nutrients. And hopefully over time, your skin will look good. And I'll tell you one other little tip that sometimes people really laugh at this, but if you're able to get your hands on some beef suet, which is the fat of the cattle that surrounds the kidneys, you can render that into tallow. Now, today you can buy tallow, but tallow will make some of the best face cream you've ever tried.
Really? I'm not sure I'd fancy it.
I know. I joke with my girlfriends and I say, yes, girls, we're putting beef fat on our faces.
But if it works, it's worth a try.
Yeah, but make your bone broth, drink your bone broth every day. You're going to have a youthful complexion. And if they see my cookbooks, the Modern Pioneer cookbook, I share how to do that in the cookbook and the Modern Pioneer pantry. They can look at the picture on the front of the book cover of my latest book, which just came out. I'm 67 years old, and wow. I think the beef fat and the bone broth are helping.
I think it is as well. Absolutely. Well done, you. So let me ask you, Mary, what's the difference between broth, stock, and bone broth?
Oh, great question. This is a very interesting topic because of the popularity of bone broth. But basically what the differences are is broth is generally something that is made primarily with more meat than bone. So you might have like beef shanks where the bone is small, but there's more meat. And that is very nutritious. That's very high in protein. And broth is a wonderful base to use for soups. It's very healing, especially if you have if you're tending to the sick and they can't really eat very much, they're not feeling very good. Broth is wonderful because the protein, it supports healing. Then you have stock. Stock is primarily made with just bones with very little meat on them, like maybe a big marrow bone. And you'll put those into your water, simmer them for a few hours, and then you have your stock. People will often take that and then reduce it into, you hear demi-glace and these fancy French terms, that the French chefs use. But that's the biggest difference between broth and stock. Broth is made with meaty bones. Stock is primarily made with bones that have been stripped of their meat. Then bone broth is a combination of the two plus an extra ingredient. In bone broth, you'll often have some meat, like say you're using a chicken carcass, there's going to be some meat left on that. You have the bones, the carcass itself. And then often what can be very beneficial when it comes to making bone broth is to add in a little something extra that is very high in cartilage. When you make beef bone broth, that often means maybe adding in some oxtails or a knuckle bone or a patella bone that has a lot of cartilage on it. With chicken bone broth, often adding in a few chicken feet or a chicken back, a chicken neck, things like that are very high in cartilage, because it's that cartilage that we learned melts down into gelatin once cooked, which is what gives bone broth that very distinctive gelatinous appearance when it's refrigerated.
It's all great advice, Mary. I love chatting to you. And if any of our listeners want to find out more, I know you've got the Modern Pioneer Pantry book and the Modern Pioneer Cookbook and lots and lots and lots of information on your website. Do you want to give your website out?
Oh, yes. My website is marysnest.com, and I'm Mary's Nest on YouTube and Mary's Nest across all of social media.
Yes, some great videos on YouTube. I've just been looking at them. And some great pictures. As you say, you look more like 37 than 57.
Oh, well, you're very kind. I don't know about 37, but as I'm staring 70 down the pike in just a few years, I'm drinking my bone broth and using my tallow cream.
Bless you. It's clearly working. Well, you have a good day, and thanks for joining us again.
Oh, thank you, Selena, and thank you to your listeners. It's always a joy to chat with y'all.
Thanks, Mary. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.